Hello everybody and welcome. In this video we're going to show you 3 different methods of how to do automatic airlocks in Space Engineers. Let's get started. The first one is by far the easiest to understand and the simplest to implement. It being just one sensor on the front door and one on the back door. Whenever you interact with the sensor's zone, it opens the door. Whenever you leave the zone, it closes the door. This is where things actually start to get really complicated. Once we start implementing timer blocks, what they're going to do is, number 1, open, number 2, close behind you, and number 3, it's going to open the opposite door. And this is accomplished with 3 timer blocks. 1 to open the opposite door, 1 to open the door when you walk into the sensor, and 1 to close the door as you leave. And this is implemented using just 6 timer blocks, 2 for each door, and 2 for the middle sensor that activate at the exact same time, and depending on which door you enter in from, tells that sensor to open the opposite door. The third, and by far the most complicated, actually implements a total of 8 timer blocks. That's 2 extra timer blocks that just tells it whether or not it should pressurize or depressurize. It's the same as the second one, just with that unique feature. So that we can actually see how far the sensors are going to go, press K, go to Info, and then right here where it says Show Sensors Field Range, make sure to have that selected. Whenever you see the yellow door, it's going to be the interior, and whenever you see the red door, that'll be the exterior, or outside. And we will promptly name the yellow door inside, and the red door outside. We also need to know how sensors actually work, and there are 2 different ways that a sensor can be activated. Once when entering the field, another when exiting the field. And if we go into the sensor, you'll actually notice under Setup Actions, there's 2 different slots. The left is when you enter the field, and the right is when you exit the field. This gives you a lot of options when you're actually doing stuff. Mostly, it's going to be used when we enter the door, it opens it, and when we leave the field, it closes the door behind us. With that in mind, let's get to work on making the simplest version of this airlock. Start off by putting a sensor on both doors, one on the entrance door and one on the exit. Make sure to name the yellow door inside and the red door outside. Then name the sensors. On the yellow door, you want to name it inside, and on the red door, you want to name that sensor outside. Select both sensors and click Show on HUD. This gives us a visual indication of the sensor's range, allowing us to adjust it with ease. Then we're going to decrease all of the actual distances of the sensors to where they're just 1 apart on each one. You can do this easily by pressing left control and left click, then typing 1 and pressing enter. Now we're going to specifically target the left sensor and use the right extent. Put that to 3. Then we're going to go to the next sensor and we're going to go to the left extent and make that 3. Now that the sensors are both within the proper range limits to where they'll actually detect us if we walk into the field from the front side of the door, we're actually going to go into the sensor, go to Setup Actions, select the outside door for the red door, open, then closed. Then the next door, we're going to do the same thing. When we enter the field, we're going to have it set as open, and when we exit the field, we're going to have it set as closed. Now we should be able to walk straight through with no problems. The second version implements a third sensor that actually goes into the middle of the airlock. This tells it which timer block should actually activate by activating both timer blocks at the same time. But since one of the timer blocks is turned off, it ends up only opening the opposite door. Here's a helpful diagram to show exactly what's going on here. The third, and by far the most complicated, implements a total of 8 timer blocks. That's 2 extra timer blocks. These 2 timer blocks are activated by the middle sensor. The middle sensor, right here, has an action that just activates middle 1 trigger now. If we go into the inventory of the first one, timer block middle 1, you'll notice underneath setup actions that we're closing both doors and then turning depressurization on. We also have it to start timer block middle 2. Timer block middle 2, if we go into the setup actions, has trigger now for both the enter and the exit. What happens when we trigger both of these, since this one's off, like in the previous one, it only does what this timer block has it set to, and this one has it set to just open the outside. Now, if we reverse them by opening this sensor, bop, now this one would activate. If we go into its inventory, sliding door inside open and depressurization off, which means it'll pressurize the room. Other than that, the third one is practically the same as the second one. As long as you use the diagram, then you should be able to easily make the third one no problem. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.